Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Teams that come together set themselves apart. Unfortunately, not every team thinks that way. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And Mark, I say not every team thinks that way because we got a question we're going to deal with today that is an indicator of teams we've seen before this happened. But the question the leader asks is, how do you deal with a team that talks behind your back and won't focus on issues head on? There's dissension in the ranks here. What advice do we have to somebody who may have a team that's not aligned, they're not together? Not only that, there's some water cooler talk that's probably not positive. I know you've got some thoughts on this, and I do too. So we're gonna hang out today and talk about that a little bit. So here we go.
Yeah, I think this may sound like an answer I've given before, but I think you've got to try to figure out the root cause. Yeah. And there are probably several ways that you could do that. One is some individual conversations. Now, maybe there's not sufficient trust for those conversations to take place. If that's the case, you could use some type of organizational health assessment or even a 360 where you, the leader, say, hey, let me get feedback from the people that report to me, from my peers, and from those that are above me in the organization, which might surface some issues. But I think you've got to try to figure out what's going on. And I don't want to take off the table a conversation with the team. But I don't know that I would go there immediately. So as I read the question, you at least know something is being said. You may have an idea as to the root or origin of that or the person. And I think you can have a conversation. Say, I heard this. You know anything about that? Is there anything you need to share with me or whatever? So, but I think you've got to figure out the root cause before you can create a credible way forward.
That's a great reminder. I would say oftentimes the root cause in a situation that turns negative, or I've noticed it's a lack of communication. I mean, if there's not good communication, I've always believed that if you don't have communication, there's a good chance negativity will fill that space. That space is going to be filled with there's going to be communication. And so if it's not coming from the leader, it's not coming in a positive way, peer to peer, like we talked about yesterday or the day before, this is a opportunity here for us to evaluate our communication. And if we're not communicating, we shouldn't be surprised that negativity fills that space. And I believe with all my heart, you can't go to a positive place with negative people. It's just almost impossible. And so as leaders, we've got to ask ourselves, I love that, the root cause reminder there. It's just, why is this happening? And, I'm either coaching it or I'm enabling it if I'm the leader. And so I think it starts, it's easy to, blame them for being disruptive and there are team members that may need to be removed. I understand that. But so many times, if I'm not doing my job to communicate and lead effectively, I shouldn't be surprised that there's going to be some dissension. And now I like also, you said maybe there needs to be a meeting. I think there needs to be a culture of positivity.
Sure.
As leaders, we get to create whatever culture we want. And if we don't do that strategically or intentionally, there's no question that it can go the other way.
Well, and the reason I need to be really clear, the reason I mentioned the meeting with the team last is I'm not sure you go there first.
I agree. I
have a situation in my career where we had an issue and I took it to the team and it was more than the team could actually handle based on their maturity, based on their level of trust, and it blew up. And that was on me. Like I should never have taken that to the team.
Yeah. Well, and I think,
or at least not at that point.
Yeah,
not never.
I that's right. And I would say there's the old principle that if I have a problem with you, I should come to you. I shouldn't go tell the team, or I shouldn't go tell somebody else on the team. Like Mark is just if I got an issue with you, I need to go to you. And if I can't work that out, then maybe I take somebody with me on the team. and say, let's talk about this. Maybe we need a mediator, maybe we need a supervisor, whatever. But I think going back to what I said about the culture, we get a chance to set boundaries here in our team environment and saying, if we tell the team, this is what we tell the team. If you have a problem with somebody on the team, you talk to that person. If you have a problem with me as the leader of the team, you come talk to me. I mean, we go back to that open door and feedback and some of that stuff we talked about earlier. There's an opportunity here for us to level up our communication.
Sure. And let's stay on that theme for a minute. I've had situations when I learned that things were being said outside our team.
Yeah.
Well, and I went to those people individually.
About the team you're talking about?
Well, or
outside the team, or?
Yes, things about the team were being said by others outside the team.
And so you're going and protecting the team.
And I'm going and having individual conversations with people in other departments and on other teams and says, hey, I understand you guys talked about this at your team meeting. Let me just set the record straight.
Yeah.
I think you may have had some bad information.
That's good.
And I had those conversations with people who never sat on a team that I led.
Yeah.
But I knew, back to people talking outside the meeting.
That's so good. And if somebody really along that line as well, if somebody comes to me and says, I have a problem with Mark, I need to send them to you. I need to say, have you talked to Mark, first? And again, because they may not know, I need to maybe even defend you if they're saying something. I'm like, you don't have the whole thing here. You need to go talk to Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I love the idea if somebody's talking about our team outside our team, as the leader of the team, you got to protect that.
So I think I want to take one more spin at this. Ask the question again.
Okay. So the question is, what is the question here? How do you deal with a team that talks behind your back and won't discuss issues head on?
Okay. This is a bit of a tangent, but I've actually seen this at play when a team was, let's just call it murmuring. There was a level of
grumbling.
There was grumbling and dissatisfaction and and it was about stuff that really didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was serving under a leader who acknowledged it. And he identified the problem is we've not given these folks enough important things to pursue.
Yeah.
And in their idleness,
the negativity will feel idleness as well.
And so he ended up setting a big goal that everybody aligned
got
around.
On board with, yeah.
And that took all their energy.
Yeah.
They no longer had the energy to do a lot of this.
Didn't have time to go to the water cooler.
So he said, this is on me, back to looking in the mirror. Why are these people spending time and energy on all these trivial things that don't matter? Maybe because I haven't given them anything sufficient to focus their hearts and minds on.
Yeah, I love that. I think also just that leader even calling it out, like this is not what we're going to do. I gave Laura a shout out the other day. We had the anniversary a few days ago, and I remember when the girls were growing up, we had 4 girls, that were growing up. And one of the things she said, this was one of her sayings, we're not going to do drama. We're just not, we're not doing drama. I'm like,
I didn't know you could decree that.
They did. They say I'm the most dramatic of the whole group. It's like, Dad, you're being dramatic here. But we don't.
You set the norm. You set the standard.
I guess so. I don't know. But I think that leader calling out, like, we're just not. This is not what we're going to be.
Right.
And if you want to do this, you're not going to want to be on this team
because we're going after
something
bigger,
big, like your leader was talking about.
But prior to that moment, people had just kind of gotten in their own camps and doing their own thing and bickering about what other people were or were not doing. And the leader said, that's on me.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll close it there. When a team comes together, they set themselves apart. But when there's infighting and bickering and there's drama, it's not going to work. We can't go to a positive place with negative people. Work really hard today to make sure that your people are together. It really is better when you're together. All right. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.